Hold on, come back up. Talk me through that. How did you pull that off? By accident or by design?
I think because we had them, we knew where they were coming from, and because there was more of us as well.
Yeah, there was more of us.
But you were supposedly much less experienced.
But the Romans weren't familiar with in how to deal tactically with the archers, and we did kill some of their people earlier on.
We killed quite a lot early on, didn't we?
And at the very end, we killed their general as well by surrounding them with our cataphracts. And
Well, that was your idea, Leanne, wasn't it? Getting the cataphracts in halfway.
It was good.
You wouldn't have been smiling if it didn't work. You'd have been frowning.
All right. You think it did well?
I don't know how well we did, but we won.
Which is important. Let's find out what our experts thought of how you did. Saul and Alec have been watching you.
Choked away.
And, talking about you all the time. And now they're going to talk to you about how it went. Gentlemen, what do you think?
I think it's fair to say that we were taken aback by how well you were able to pull that one out of the fire. It was deeply touch and go there for a little bit.
We were a little bit worried at the beginning. We looked at your plan. We could see that you'd identified the ford and that the ford was important. But we were worried that you were going to try to move troops up to the ford in time to catch the Romans as they were crossing. The problem was they were closer to the ford and they were almost always going to get there before you. So the key was you had to husband your troops. And ultimately, you did that rather well. He was suspicious at one stage that you'd lost a certain amount of command and control. I think Billy said at one point, I don't care what you do with the cataphracts. Use them or don't use them. And given that he was the general, I was a little bit worried at that stage.
What did it for you guys, and the reason that you were able to hold it all together, was first of all the initiative. Your plan from the beginning was ambitious, in fact, perhaps even mad, but at the core of your plan was the desire to seize the initiative. And you wanted to go out there, you wanted to engage the Romans, you wanted to oppose the crossing, you wanted to make the Romans fight your kind of battle. And that's great, because your plan was, to some extent, fundamentally unrealistic. And it all went completely to rat once you tried to do it. But it didn't matter because you had the initiative. The Romans had to fight your battle. Instead of cruising across the river and fighting their battle, they ended up being completely disrupted in their river crossing, and that gave you the opportunity to use your superior numbers against them.
I think one of the keys to the battle was your use of the archers, actually, and this was what was clever about your plan. If there were elements of it that were slightly leaky, this was watertight. Because what you'd identified is they were key troops. The Romans didn't have many archers. And also, obviously, you need to use them from a distance. You can't engage, and if you allow the Romans to engage your archers, they're going to be cut to pieces. So you use them to antagonize the Romans, probably not causing that many casualties. But as a result, they launched a cavalry charge, which was unsupported. I don't know if you noticed that halfway through the battle. And that's quite unusual. Tactically, the Romans made an error at that point, but the brilliant thing from your point of view is you took full advantage. You launched your cataphracts, your other key troops, at a crucial moment. You may not have known it yourselves, but it was, and that set up the victory.
And the other big reason that you guys managed to win this one is that you kept those cataphracts concentrated. Emma at one point said, well, why don't you attack with some of the cataphracts? I was filled with horror. Oh my goodness, do not divide up that beautiful mailed fist. And sure enough, you guys managed to keep that fist together. You kept that fist clenched, and you kept using it again and again. Any time the Romans looked like they were starting to get it together, you'd hit them with the cataphracts. Very impressive.
That was pretty much how you thought about it too, wasn't it?
As you could tell.
Your plan was much better when you had it explained to you, is that what you're saying?
what we wanted to do was we wanted to create an air of suspense and letting you think we really had no idea what we were doing.
Well, it worked.
But all along, we had this plan that we knew would.
You succeeded in lulling us into a very real sense of insecurity. Would you like to see how the battle was really fought in history?
Yes.
Okay. On you go. Alec and Saul will show you how it happened.
King Tigranes came to this battle with a lot of people. King Tigranes had his allies with him. He had lots of people. They weren't much good, but he had lots of them. And he had them all concentrated on the high ground that you see here, this plateau. Nice, flat, good. And he had his cataphracts concentrated, and he put them, we think, right in front of a bit of his infantry. 100,000 people, all mashed together.
The Romans, on the other hand, as we know, were a much smaller force. They have to take the initiative. They can't allow the Armenians to come onto them. So what they do in classic Roman style is they strike fast and they strike hard. Now, the interesting thing about the beginning of this battle is that the position in which the ford lay from where the Romans start was actually to the west, and it looked like the Romans were running away. Tigranes was convinced that the battle wasn't actually going to take place, and as a result of this, we suspect the Armenian army wasn't properly formed at the point at which the Romans eventually struck. They actually moved their troops to the ford and very quickly moved them across the ford, cavalry out in front, probably skirmishers as well. At this particular point, Lucullus makes a brilliant, absolutely brilliant maneuver. He can see that the cataphracts, the key to the force, are actually out in front, and he knows that if he can defeat that crucial force first, he's probably going to win the victory. But he also makes a very clever use of ground. He takes two cohorts and he marches them. At the same time as he moves the cavalry forward to pin the cataphracts, he marches them up some high ground to the flank which has been left unguarded, and this is the crucial move.
And the Armenian king, throughout all this, does not know where the Romans are. He's up on this plateau. He can't see past his huge 100,000-man army, and he keeps saying, where are the Romans? Where are the Romans? Are they coming? Are they coming? Are they coming? And in the past, the Armenians knew that any time somebody told the king that the Romans were coming, he'd kill them. So he's saying, are they coming? Are they coming? And nobody's saying anything. I'm not going to tell the king. You tell the king.
They are coming. They've reached the top of the hill, Lucullus at their head. He has pinned the cataphracts with his cavalry, and he makes the classic maneuver which is so dangerous to cataphracts, a flank attack and smash. And as he smashes into the cataphracts panic, and they drive back into the semi-formed Armenian army, and
it all falls apart.
After the real Battle of Tigranocerta, having suffered a humiliating defeat, King Tigranes escaped with his father-in-law, Mithridates. The following year, Lucullus advanced his Roman army again on the Armenian king, and this time crushed Tigranes' powerful empire. Lucullus's resounding triumph in his campaigns in the east ensured that he returned home a wealthy man. Once again, he had extended the power of imperial Rome.
It's pick of the day time now, and here's your choices. On BBC One, it's the next up-to-the-minute version of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. And here on BBC Two, clothes pegs at the ready. For your notes.